Welcome to Mending Threads, your safe place and stronghold for whole body wellness. It's the Women's Resource Center Transformation Series. And look forward to more information as we speak today. So we have as our guest today Dr. Floyd Atkins from the Center for Wellness and Healing. Good morning. Welcome to Mending Threads, your safe place and your stronghold for whole body wellness. And today we have a real talk and discussion so that we could cover some topics that are helpful to you and to us around mental health and food as medicine. And we're going to look at ways and strategies to bring some closure, openings, meaning, and whatever to the topic of COVID-19 and our return to work and looking at how we're going to monitor balance in our lives. So we have with us today Dr. Floyd Atkins, who is with the Center for Wellness and Healing, and he is most astute about many of the topics. And we're going to look at this food as medicine topic as it relates to mental health and some of the factors that are going on today. One topic that we want to look at is mental health. We want to keep this in forefront because we're seeing in the news more incidences of violence, frustration, battering, spousal abuse, children being harmed. We hear drownings even on yesterday of children 4 years of age. And we need to look at that and see what is going on during this traumatic pandemic situation. We know that a pandemic is worldwide, and we know that it means that there's trauma going on and that there's an escalation with the stressful situations, not just because of the pandemic only for many people, because some of us have had stressful lives during or before the pandemic. And what research shows that when you're in a traumatic situation, being that you have lost your job or you don't have enough money to pay your bills or to buy food or to take care of your health habits, and then you have a pandemic that requires restriction, that situation can escalate the system, the body, and the body will then respond not in its normal fashion, but in a stressful manner that says, what, I got to get out of here, I got to do something about it, which is fight or flight. And so one of the things that we see, if our culture says that we are supposed to be able to handle situations and we have that reinforced around us, we will have more incidences of what? Fight as opposed to flight. And so we want to talk about that a little bit. We were hoping to have another way of looking at preparing for it. But Dr. Atkins, can you help us a little bit as to how food as medicine may relate to or can relate to mental health, as so to speak, especially during this situation?
Yes. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good. Yes, it is an unusual time for us all, and even in normal times, food has a big impact on our overall health as well. When it comes to what we eat and the food choices that we make. We know a lot of people. We already understand through research that eating processed foods, eating fried foods, eating refined cereals, sugars, pastries, candies, all create an air of anxiety. They can create depression because when you're eating high sugar and high starch diets, it tends to take our blood sugar up, and then we'll get a quick drop off, and then we'll kind of get depressed, and we tend to gravitate getting more sugary, starchy, processed foods. So you have this wave of going up and down throughout the day of being a high, being stimulated, and then you get a low from depression. Being depressed with your blood sugar, and affecting blood sugar like that also affects your immune system. Eating that food that's poor nutritional value affects immune system. So one of my big concerns right now is even when people or in this time are going out buying foods at the stores, they tend to buy the comfort foods. And we know the comfort foods are those very same things: the potato chips, the starches, the sugars, the cakes, the pies, things that give us a momentary comfort, but they really have wreak havoc on our immune system. So yes, I want to get to talking about some of the foods that are helpful, but understanding what is the real cause of the problem is really what we want to see. And Dr. Lewis, I've really been concerned, as everyone has, and especially in the people of color are being affected more by this pandemic situation than other people. We see in New York that about 30% of the population is a people of color, but you have over 45 to 50% of the people who are affected
Yes.
who are dying, not just affected, who are dying are people of color. Even higher numbers in Chicago and Detroit and Louisiana and New Orleans. So we have to know that there are steps we have to take to address the things that cause it. And even in the field of mental health, what it does is the anxiety, depression tends to make people react in ways they normally wouldn't. It just exacerbates the situation. The pressure, the stress of not having the money, not knowing what's coming next, not in their normal routine.
So I was on a AARP phone conference for health for the COVID-19, and we discussed the health and mental health. And one
Hmm.
of the topics, because we have the Battery and Intervention Program here, so one of
Yes,
the things that they were speaking about is that certain populations, whether they are in New York or wherever, low income persons, that
yes,
that we tend to feel powerless anyway. And so it happened that the powerless people tend to have more anxiety at the outset. And then it tends to increase the anxiety, be it seniors, be it low income persons who do not feel that they have the efficacy to come out of the situation.
yes,
And so somehow we're not looking at that. For example, when they give out the food, we're finding a difficulty even getting permission to find out how the people feel during the same time that they're giving out the food.
yes,
So, so somehow we are looking at everything separately. You know,
yes.
like yes, and instead of the testing, we're looking at mental health with the testing, so we could really get a picture of how the disease is moving. We're not. We're avoiding that. So that was the most interesting. It's following just what you were saying. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting, and it's a vicious cycle that we go in, because when you talk about people getting food, people are in line getting food, wondering if they're going to get some food, if the food's going to run out before I get to the line. People are wondering every day, what am I going to do? Where do I get money to buy food if I can't get food here?
Yeah.
They wonder about the financial part of it. So and I guess the biggest emotional issue I see is that it creates an atmosphere of fear. And fear is another thing that not only, um, I guess, restricts us or prohibit us from doing things, but it is another factor, a stress factor that creates a weakened immune system. So it kind of perpetuates the situation of people getting more susceptible to getting viruses or flus or colds or more susceptible to disease. Because I think and especially in our community, again, I have to bring that up, that we have high rate of diabetes and high rate of heart disease, a high rate of chronic lung diseases. So therefore, we become more susceptible because those same stresses and those same anxieties we carry each and every day, and it's just magnified during this period of time.
But magnify, and then you see just what you're speaking about in terms of mood factors. You know, bipolar, depression. Those persons then begin to use other coping behaviors, and this is what I'm finding. I'm finding family members are very angry with each other. They're drinking a little bit more. They're overeating a little bit more, and feeling more out of control, and using coping a coping thing that would actually move or change their normal mood where they can have more of control. So then it becomes a control issue, and especially if there's a need for power.
Yes.
We're not looking at that people are not looking at the status of power and the perceived power that you have. Uh,
Right.
so the more perceived power you have, the less aggressiveness, the less overeating, the less blah blah blah. And so this is what I'm beginning to hear a little bit more, even as you were speaking
Right.
about that.
And see, and again, this is back in your field again, but I have to mention this because the words we use when we describe our situation. A lot of people are calling me, they're in the house, they can't go out, and we talk about being quarantined, being self quarantined.
Yeah,
That's a powerless word right there. And so
yeah.
what I do is when I talk to people, they say, "How are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm on a retreat. I'm on a retreat. I'm staying at home. I'm relaxing. I'm reading. I'm doing the things I would do if I was on a vacation retreat." But I'm only doing it at home. So my perception is that I have control over the situation because I'm in a situation that I have control over. And being on a retreat does that. But if you say you're quarantined, again, you go back to that statement you said, you feel powerless again.
Okay, so we're on the same page. I call it a staycation.
Staycation, exactly.
So I'm having a staycation, and I talked to a lady last night, one
Mhm.
of the ministers in the area, and I said, "How are you doing over there with your COVID?" And there's a reason why I don't want to say the word. They say when you say the word and
Yeah,
give it a name, you give it power.
you
And
give it
so
power.
I'm just saying the abbreviations because I don't want to give it the power.
Yes.
Um, so she told me, she said, "This is the first time that I have been with myself. And I am truly finding that I like myself. And I enjoy doing the things. I'm getting all the things done that I really wanted to do. And I'm learning how to develop a fish tank. I'm learning how to embroider. I'm learning how to do all these things that I've had materials around me that I never put my hand on, I couldn't get to. So she's having her staycation over there and her learning. So you're right, how you perceive it. You're,
Yeah.
mhm.
That's a big factor. So what I want to talk to people about when it comes to, we want to talk about how food can be a medicine in this situation. We want to really focus on number one. We really have to focus on eating whole foods, or we want foods that overall stimulate our immune system. Because when we stimulate immunity, it's more than just preventing a good disease, but you're stimulating your mental health also. So you want to eat more whole foods, foods that are raw, uncooked food as much as possible. A good plant-based diet. You want to start there, and then from there you want to eat more raw foods, raw vegetables. We really focus on foods that are high in antioxidants. Those are things, and I have a list. I'm gonna give you a list real quick of 10 foods I would really recommend that people include in their diet. And so you want to stay away from foods in boxes and cans and the things that have been processed in that way, but focus more on, say, for instance, mushrooms in your diet. Many people may not use mushrooms, but eating mushrooms is a good immunostimulant. It helps to accelerate your immune system, your immune cells, and get them operating through your body. But what it also does is it stimulates your hormones also to be more productive, and so therefore you feel better. Doing things like broccoli sprouts, or broccoli. We know that it's a cruciferous vegetable that has some immunity building behavior, but it's so protective of your body when it comes to fighting disease. Um, One thing we know that there has been clinical studies that show that broccoli sprouts have an antiviral effect on your body also. So they have the ability to slow down the production of viruses. And so that was a study that was done at Johns Hopkins back in 2016 to prove that. So foods really have an impact when it comes to that. Doing the extra virgin olive oil, they help stimulate your immune cell response. Your body makes more immune cells, and all these things you're doing because the fear, the stress, and the anxiety that we're feeling are constantly have a drag on our immune system and pulling our immunity down. So we have to counteract that with the foods we eat.
Mhm.
Pomegranate juice is a powerful antioxidant. It really helps with gut health when it comes to help balancing your gut health. Same way we think about yogurt or think about things like that. Pomegranate juice has that same effect on our digestive system. Everybody's familiar with the blueberries and the blackberries, which are both good antioxidants. They tend to support healthy immune system. Things like tomatoes. Um, we eat tomatoes and people don't realize that the lycopenes in tomatoes have a very powerful effect on our body, but they're even more powerful when you cook tomatoes, like it's making a tomato sauce or tomato paste. So if you have a dish that you have
Yeah.
a vegetable pasta, but you make a tomato sauce that goes with it, or make a tomato sauce that you would cook maybe 20 or 30 minutes, the longer you cook it, the more lycopenes are released and the better it is. It's better to eat that cooked tomato than eat a raw tomato because it's more powerful when it comes to it. And then for soothing situations, we understand that green tea is another option that we can use as a way to eat. And when you're eating that more balanced diet where you're not getting the highs and lows, it tends to have you more calm and you can make better choices and you think clearly because again, the sugars and starch add to mental confusion, decrease mental clarity, and it makes people have more anxiety. So you don't really make good choices.
Right. One of the other points that I wanted to tag on to what you're speaking about is
Hmm.
that when we're helping people, I'm going way out here, but it has something to do with that.
Yes.
We're helping men take charge because if we're thinking that if the men take charge, and this is what some of the literature showed, then
Yes.
they feel less weak, less vulnerable.
Yes.
They take charge of planning the meal or planning of what the shopping is going to look like, what the expenditures are, then they are taking control of what they can take control of.
Yes.
They're not so angry and that they feel cut off or they don't have their full freedom because now they're redirecting their energies
Yes.
to leading and taking care of their family and the environment to which they do have control over,
Yes.
kind of redirecting and helping people to begin looking at that the anger outburst and the food. So they're moving toward alcohol and sugars as,
Yes.
as sweet foods. So
Yes.
if they begin to take charge of the emotional, or last time you spoke of using broccoli, greens, and uh, eating certain types of foods to help balance. And I think, did you tell me a black beans? Did you say that?
Blackberries, blueberries, the berry family.
Very
Blackberries. Yeah.
yes, yes. And that if we did that and we made our drink in the morning and we had vegetables in the afternoon, green vegetables and salads in the afternoon, our children are looking at what we do. Our
Yes.
children are perceiving how we handle our crises, how we respond during a crisis.
Yes.
So we have two things going on.
Yeah.
We're leading and we're also responding.
Yes, and one of the biggest factors that it goes along with that diet, and I think you're absolutely right when it comes to, the men or males or the really taking responsibility for the family because it really puts you back in a position you want to be. A lot of times, men may feel less powerful when they're in a work situation, when they have bosses and they're on a job and they might be under somebody's authority. But when you have this time off and we have time to really focus on our family and what we do, then you have authority and you can take charge of what's going on or be a part of the decision making rather than just being always at the other end of the commands or the orders that have to be carried out. One thing we didn't include, I want to include, I'm going to say we didn't include, is physical activity. I see so many people out, which is a good idea. Walking, exercise, getting out. I know we keep our social distance, but getting out to the park because when we walk, it increases our endorphins. We feel better. Even
Yeah,
that man taking his family on a family walk together.
yeah,
The kids see that, and when you walk and you exercise, your stress and anxiety levels tend to decrease. So it really helps the whole family, and it takes your mind off the current situation. It has so many positive effects. Any other stress reduction techniques when it comes to practicing meditation at home, having, for people who are more spiritually minded, having a prayer time or a Bible study time and doing things to let you know that, we have authority over the situation and there are things bigger than what the news media or we hear on CNN or hear on TV because those things are more anxiety provoking. And finally, sleep is one thing people don't really consider. The less sleep you have, as you know, people tend to struggle more during it. You tend to be more irritable when you're not getting enough sleep. If you're only getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep because you're staying up all night watching TV or watching TV all day and not getting proper sleep, it's going to, again, affect your immune system. It's going to affect your mental health. It's going to make you more anxiety prone and make you tend to be more aggressive or, more snappy at people and things like that. So we want to get those 7 or 8 hours of sleep per night, because that would really be helpful. And again, we have the time off. We're on our staycation. We're on our retreat. So getting to sleep you have no excuse for that. So yes, we really have somebody in the household to take the authority for that. That way people won't have that anxiety.
So some of the things that you mentioned, what sleep, for example,
Yeah.
what I'm asking people, so we're doing a program right now trying to help people reorganize their lives
Yes.
now that they see that they can create a balance. And one of the things that we're doing is asking them to come up with a schedule that fits with their harmony, with the balance in their lives,
Yeah.
instead of accommodating to the outside
Yeah.
only. So the children, people are feeling out of range because of teaching their children. So I'm asking them to keep their schedule just as if they were going to school, but
Yeah.
just have fun time in between with their children. Get up and have them make up their beds, so to
Yeah.
speak, in the morning. Clean, put their things beside the door just like they would and know where things are. It seems like people are becoming so confused
Yes.
and needing to redirect themselves because they had outside structure
Yeah.
versus inside structure.
Exactly.
So we're trying to create a sense of mind, body, spirit alignment in terms of creating your own rhythm around
Yeah.
what's meaningful to you. So rethinking what you're saying. So in order for them to go to sleep, they would have to eat certain things before a certain time. And I'm asking them not to look at TV
Yes.
at least 1 hour before bed,
Yes.
to make sure that they're sure what you said, drink water during the day, maybe
Yes.
have some lavender and green tea earlier before they go to bed and have lavender smell. And and then some people require a mask, I found.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, mask, it's a two-way street. So, wearing the mask, it not only protects you, but it protects other people. It sends a message. I think in some instances, masks are a symbol of authority and power too.
Yes,
So
yes,
you have to use that or use those symbols because it shows other people that you are being proactive about what you're doing when it comes to your health. Not that I'm trying to not get something, but I'm protecting the people around me.
I
And
really meant the mask at night where you put over your eyes.
oh, that
But
mask too.
yeah, yeah, the mask too. Yeah, yeah.
What that does, when you have sleep in total darkness and not have this light from either TV or outside, it increases your melatonin. You have to have that complete darkness because it makes, and melatonin again helps you relax and it's also help you to sleep better, and you get more restful sleep, what we call more REM sleep.
So I wanted to ask you this. I've been hearing in the news and reading in the paper that they're asking you to drink more green tea and drink hot things in the morning and in the evening in terms of clearing your digestion, your lungs, your body, and making it function. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I am not totally convinced. My whole system is that you have to, if you drink hot teas, you'd have to drink it throughout the day, because an hour later after you drink the hot tea, you're back in the same situation where there's no warmth in your body, and that tends to kill viruses. So when you're not doing anything to prevent the virus will tend to replicate and come back.
Yeah,
My approach is, number one, is to focus on doing things in our overall health that will build our immune system. Dr. Pamela, Dr. Pamela Atkins, she
yeah,
has done this tremendous video on things we can do, recommendations when it comes to protecting ourselves and stimulating our immune system. And one of the number one things is doing things like taking buffer vitamin C. We want to make a daily regimen that supports the healthy food we eat.
yeah,
Doing the buffer vitamin C, doing 1 to 2 grams 2 to 3 times a day, because they found in Wuhan, China, where this outbreak, supposedly allegedly occurred from, that the doctors began using high dose vitamin C and even vitamin C therapy, and the people did much better. Some people didn't get any symptoms from it. People who had symptoms tend to recover fast, and so that was one thing. Another thing we really recommend is, and I've talked about this before, is using a zeolite powder. We want to do things proactively that keeps this virus from replicating in our bodies. So focusing more, I tell people not to focus on the virus, but focus on yourself. Focus on what do I do for my
Yes,
own health. Focus
yes,
what I do, what I eat, what I drink. Again, the hot tea. I think that came around as an internet sensation that they thought that that would be a defense against it. But I don't think that's the most effective defense.
mhm,
'Cause we see they said in warmer climates that people tend to not get the virus, which is not necessarily true because I talk to people in Central America. I have a sister who lives in West Africa, and the virus is there. Again, it's not as they don't have as many severe cases, but they have practiced sanitizing and social distancing, things like that, also, which are very important. I don't negate doing any of the things I recommend, but again, if I don't hear the recommendations of eating healthier, if I don't hear the recommendations of doing your antioxidants and your vitamin C's, taking things like an olive leaf extract. Olive leaf is a great herb that we could take uh,
mhm.
that really helps people. It stops the replication of viruses. There's another grapefruit seed extract product that's great when it comes to preventing viral replication that acts as antiviral that kills viruses. So if we have to do those things along with the diet, the exercise, the lifestyle, if we want to get it. So um, so don't depend on it. People in Florida and people in Louisiana where it's still warm, they're still getting the virus. People in Central America and Africa, they're still getting the virus. The
Yeah.
virus is still there. So it's not just the drinking the tea, because I say you'd have to be drinking tea 24 every hour all day, and you'd be pretty hot after a while.
So can you give us, you know what, I sure hope we can get Dr. Pam on early in the morning one morning because we need to hear from her, particularly for the ladies, the health and that kind of thing. I do know that we're getting ready to do some real training videos.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for us to do that. And that's going to be coming forth. But before we close, I wanted to see what your thoughts were in preparing. They're
Uh-huh.
talking about us going back to work right now. And so, some populations have to go back to work because we're in a position where we're not the controllers, we're not in power. So if they say we go back to work, we would have to go back to work in order to survive in one way or the other financially.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about how we could better prepare? I hear you about the food and whatever, but anything else that you would like to add for us to better prepare to go back to work earlier than later?
Yes. First of all, let me say I have to speak as a layperson, not necessarily as a doctor, because even every doctor on news or television really doesn't know the answer to that question. People can speculate. Everybody has their own ideas, opinions. So this is more of my opinion than anything else. But number one, we have to practice and continue practice the social distancing, the techniques of washing our hands, and really protecting ourselves. You have to assume that the virus is still around us, because it is. One of the big challenges or the big concerns that the healthcare community has is that once we come out and go back into the community, that the virus will start to replicate again, because it's still out there. A lot of the people who have stayed in and done a great job in social distance and protect themselves from getting the virus, once they go back out, they're going to be the ones that's most immune and susceptible to getting the virus. So easily spread just at that point. And so, with social distancing again, and do it to a degree, but even protecting yourself when it comes to, I think wearing masks is going to be a way to do it, at least for after we go back to work. So you want to still protect yourself once you're back out in the workplace. I think that's one of the big choices. But I always go back to really focusing on, this is the time when people say, I want to eat healthy, I want to do healthy. This is time to really focus on that diet, focus on what can I do to eat the proper foods. Don't eat the starches. We have time at home. We're preparing meals in our household. We're preparing meals every day. I don't miss going to restaurants. I see I'm saving so much money by not going out to restaurants and places right now, because I can prepare meals during the day. I can eat food, and I have control again over my diet. Uh, you know, have a supplement regimen, something that you do on a routine every day. We'll never go back to the way it was. People say, I'll be glad when things get back to the way they were. But you got to realize that this is a new normal. It doesn't have to be a radical new normal, but again, making some changes in your life, whether they're small, is a good thing because you're going to improve your
Right.
situation.
And I think not only making the changes, but these are some comments that I've heard recently.
Hmm.
That stuff there is just for those people who can afford it.
Yeah.
Food that you buy, and these are some real comments. Here you come talking about this healthy food stuff and whatever. But I want to have some. So one of the things is that we have to really work on asking the question: do we want to live? Do we want to survive? Do we want to teach our children what they're needing to do, and
Yeah.
begin to learn to think differently? And
Yes.
we have to ask ourselves some questions every time we do something. Is this something? What are my beliefs about this?
Yes.
Am I following something higher than myself? Am I following something, not just my needs? Am I not, see, the anger, the eating of the sweets, all of this stuff, overdoing anything,
Yes.
that you're not following something bigger than yourself. You are only trying to address your satisfaction in that moment. You
That's true. That's
whatever
true.
you see, and sometimes mental health is truly that too, and it keeps moving that way,
Yeah.
continually wanting to satisfy your need or your moment or your feel good in that moment.
Yeah.
So I'm even learning a whole lot of stuff about the not feel good stuff.
Yeah.
And so right now, and I'll admit to everybody, so right now it'll come in its own time, but I'm no longer trying to diet necessarily.
Right.
What I'm trying to do is to eat healthy, think good, think positive, think healthy,
Yeah.
and realistically,
Yeah.
and then make my behaviors correspond to my beliefs in every moment. See, in everything that I do. And so
Right.
thinking that now everybody may have something different that they do.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not about diet; it's about lifestyle, how
It's,
I live,
that's
how I
right.
live,
That's right.
and making those good choices on day by day. Every decision every day has to be a choice for health and for life and for wellness.
Yes, and take a step at a time, one
Yeah,
moment at a time, one step at a time. Well,
yeah,
Dr. Atkins, Dr. Floyd Atkins, you have just always been top notch. You just keep yourself studied, as they say, studied up. You got,
But
you got,
one thing I want to share with you before we go is that just for information for people who want recommendations about COVID, Dr. Pamela has done a wonderful video that's up on our website, centerforwellnessandhealing.com. But if you go there and you type in COVID or you look for Dr. Pamela, she has a beautiful head of red hair, so you can't miss her if you look through our pages. Or you can go to her Instagram page, which is the Dr. Pam, Dr. Pam, and she has a couple of videos about COVID and then really answering questions that people may have when it comes to what do I do proactively for myself. So those are good recommendations. I want to recommend that. And then for people who are interested in products that maybe we mentioned or things that we have on our website, you can see on our subscript, www.preventive-measures.com
right.
if you're interested in some products that may be helpful for that, and we can give you more information. You can send us an email, and I'd be happy to give you information on.
But I know she's awesome. That's what I know. She's very awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna look forward to all of that. Okay,
Okay.
I'll check it out, and I hope she'll be on real soon too.
Well, I will. We will try to work that out.
Okay, then that's what I say.
Okay.
Okay, then thank you, and I look forward to seeing you on 4 weeks from now.
Okay.
Okay, but
Well,
I'll
everybody,
talk to you before then, hopefully.
yeah. Well, everybody be safe and keep moving forward.
Okay, then thank you.
Alrighty.
Thank you for being here. I want to thank Dr. Floyd Atkins from the Center for Wellness and Healing for being with us today and going through all of the information with us and putting it in real life form. I do want to remind you to go to our website, wrc-houston.com, to get all the information and also to sign up and help your neighbor sign up for the virtual walk. This information is going to help us gather resources for anyone in need or those who you might think need help as well as yourself. Please do that at wrc-houston.com. And I look forward to seeing you on next week. And remember, renew beliefs, rebuild faith, and reconnect with your family and friends. It is not the circumstances that we meet, it is the manner in which we respond that determines health, happiness, and success. And I do look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you for being with us.